the actual pro in my group. She'll be up here a little bit later on. Her name is Caroline Powers, and she is a Michigan State grad. She played college golf at Michigan State out of this. She's from the state of Ohio, but played her college golf at Michigan State, and she is a terrific person and an excellent golfer. So she'll join us a little later. Also, we'll have one of the authorities here with the event to tell us more about what it means here in the Greenwood area. That's a little bit later on. But today we had SEC conference call for the football coaches, and K-Mac, you were on that. Will Muschamp, of course, participating. And I tell you what, he's not shying away from telling people at every opportunity, we're going to win some football games this year, and we're going to surprise some people.
Yeah. He is trying to hedge it a little bit, but he's not walking it back completely for sure about competing for the SEC East title this year.
Yeah. If he competes and finishes up there near the top, that will be a heck of a coaching job. We've got that and more coming your way in a moment. Okay, we're back. South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornblut here in Greenwood at the Self-Regional Women's Health Classic at the Links at Stony Point. K-Mac and the Professor, Tom Hayes, back at our studios in Columbia. Phone number 800-956-7266. And our email talkback at sportstalksc.com and on Twitter at sportstalksc. Can't thank the folks here enough for their good company and their good care of us today. It's been a lot of fun. While the rest of the world has been working, we've been able to play a little golf. We've been working this afternoon trying to catch up on things and get the show ready for you. And we'll let you hear from Will Muschamp tonight, his thoughts from the conference call today as he puts another wrap on spring practice for the Gamecocks. And again, as we said before the break, it's an optimistic tone, Pro, that Will Muschamp continues to sing out there about South Carolina. And, I don't think he's trying to raise expectations too high, but I also think he wants Gamecock fans to believe that there's a chance to have a respectable team out there. Then they're not going to go out there and just get their brains beat out every Saturday and have no chance to win.
Well, the key point is, let's face it, last year, inconsistent play at quarterback. Plus, you ask your defensive backs to just stand there and let everything get caught in front of them. That's an invitation for disaster. But in all, that team played hard down the stretch. If you had any consistency at quarterback and maybe some consistency in the secondary, maybe you win another 3 or 4 games last year. So I think he's looking at the film and he's saying, wait a minute, but he also kind of tells you that a lot of things have to fall into place and they're paper thin at areas where they cannot afford to have injuries. And guys, how many times you see a team, the very spot that they don't need to have injuries, that's the spot that gets hit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting, and we'll hear from Muschamp shortly in various segments, but he started listing all their question marks, and it was a laundry list. It was quarterback, it was wide receiver, running back, tight end, secondary. And he said he spied all those things. Yeah, team chaplain, all these different issues, equipment manager. No, I mean, there's all these different variables for South Carolina, and maybe his rationale is, look, who in the East is really a juggernaut? I mean, is it going to be Tennessee? Is it going to be Florida? Missouri's going through a transition. Kentucky's always kind of wishy-washy. Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt. So I get what he's saying. I still think it would be a little more prudent to undersell at this point. They are a 3-9 team. Nobody would punish him if they had a rough season. But when you say something like that, even in context, which most people can get, but in the heart of a season, come October, I think that context will be lost, and fans will go, what about this team? I thought they were supposed to be competing in the East. And the offense, which I think is going to struggle. And unfortunately for Will Muschamp, Corn, he's going to have to deal with this because that's what everybody questions him to begin with. And unfortunately for him, he inherited 0 proven playmakers on offense and no experience, legitimate experience. I mean, Perry Orth, okay, I guess he has some game experience, but he's a former walk-on. They're going to struggle on next season. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be a lot better defensively, I think. They only have one direction to go. But that offense is going to struggle, and everybody's going to say, well, see, this is it. Will Muschamp doesn't know offense. I told you. It's the same thing as Florida.
Now, I'm not so sure they're going to struggle as much as you think because up on the offensive line, I think that they've got a chance to be pretty good. I think Mason Zandy's got a chance to step in and be that left tackle. Across the line, I think Corey Helms has got a chance to be there for him. I think he'll be pretty good at center. L.J. Park, Donnell Stanley. I think they've got players. Zach Bailey. I think they've got the makings of a very good offensive line. If their quarterback play is above respectable, then I think they're going to be you're going to develop some playmakers. I think that David Williams, A.J. Turner have a chance to be legitimate SEC ball carriers. Now, I'm relying on what I'm hearing from the coaches from their postseason observations, and that's, Muschamp feels pretty good about those two guys. Deebo Samuel has a chance to be a playmaker at receiver. Their tight ends have a chance to do. The point is, we don't think they have playmakers because we haven't seen these guys get a chance to make plays. I think we're going to see these guys make plays now that they're going to get a chance, and they're going to be better than you might think.
I don't disagree that they have a playmaker on their roster, but we do know it's not a disputable fact that they have no proven playmakers on their offense right now. And you'd like to have one or two proven guys and some other guys that emerge. You have zero proven playmakers on your offense right now. You have zero proven wide receivers, zero proven running backs, because David Williams is not a proven running back. He was running in place most of last season. Now, he might have a breakout year. You're right. And there are going to be guys. They better have guys that are playmakers. Otherwise, it'll be a travesty. But you have a quarterback right now listed first on your depth chart that has never taken a snap in a college football game that should be going to a senior prom on Saturday. So if you think that those guys are going to go out there and be world beaters in the Southeastern Conference against defenses that do have proven playmakers, experienced proven playmakers, and be consistent, I think you're expecting way too much.
Well, I think the interesting thing is, in my mind, the only player I can point to that's unproven, but you know he's going to be a playmaker, is Debo. We've seen the flashes. The other key is this, and though it may sound trite, Cohen, this is the interesting thing. South Carolina has no idea who their playmakers are going to be. And guess what? Neither do their opposition. So it'll be interesting early on in these first few games what happens, because not only will South Carolina be entering the unknown, but there will really be no film Muschamp Roper offense that anybody has seen in the first few ball games. I think the proof in the pudding will be interesting is after those first few ball games, then they get film, then we see what happens to this offense.
All right, very good point. Let me mention a few things here. Full recruiting report coming up. A lot of new offers going out today. We'll update you on that in a little bit. Clemson, Larry Williams at Tiger Illustrated first report, and then others picked up on it, but Larry was the first one to put it out there that Richard Bender is returning to Clemson from the College of Charleston. Some call him Dick, like Richard Bender for whatever reason you want to.
He actually goes
observe.
He goes by Dick Bender. That's his name.
I know he does. I actually like the formal name Richard Bender. Sounds a little more professional. Anyway, he's been at the College of Charleston. He was with Brad Brownell at Clemson. He left, went to the College of Charleston. They hired their coach there off the Clemson staff. And now he's going back to Clemson to replace Richard Riley, who left to become the head coach at Nicholls State. Now, Billy Donlin, another person we mentioned earlier this week as a possibility, who also worked with Brownell closely. He was the former head coach at Wright State, had been an assistant coach under Brownell at Wilmington, played for him at Wilmington. He's been hired at Michigan. So these two things happening at about the same time. I don't know if Brad was in conversation with Billy Donlin as well as Richard Bender, but it's going to be Richard Bender going back to Clemson to fill that spot on that staff. Let's see. You mentioned the Braves. Give me the story. They lost again today. Before you give me the story on that, there's a story by Bob Nightingale, USA Today. He's saying that Bud Black, in all likelihood, is going to be his manager in 2017.
Yeah, the Braves 7-20. They lost. The story is they lost 8-0.
Yeah,
they won 3-0 yesterday. They had a one-hitter by Whistler. He was very good, and so they have a little momentum.
Whistler's mother
getaway day. They have a chance to feel good, and they just went out there and got shellacked. I mean, that thing was over by the third inning. I think it was 6-0. So yeah, the Braves go home, tails tucked, and somebody's got to be the fall guy. Apparently, it's Freddie Gonzalez's fault. They traded Andrelton Simmons and Kimbrel, the Uptons, at least a good Upton. Come on, I mean, you're really going to blame him?
Yeah, that's a shame, but he's probably going to be the guy to take the fall for all this. We'll be right back. All right, sports talk across the state. Remind you, whether you are a part of Gamecock Nation or you bleed Clemson Orange, everyone can agree on Founders Federal Credit Union with a convenient location at the Russell House on USC's campus and a new location on Highway 93 in Clemson coming soon. Founders is a sure fan favorite. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. A couple of other notes. Seth Beer from Clemson, the outstanding freshman outfielder, has accepted an invite from USA Baseball to play for the collegiate national team this summer. Gee, why would you pick him? He's only batting .419 with 14 homers and 50 RBIs and a slugging percentage of .801. Yeah, I don't know what he's done to earn that. Talk about a guy, I mean, he even graduated high school a semester early. He should be just going through his prom, and he's already making waves across the country in college baseball. What a talent he is. USC golfer Matt Naismith, I think it's Neesmith. USC golfer Matt Neesmith, first team All-SEC selection, announced today. He's joined on the SEC postseason honoree list by fellow senior Brendan Gramley, who was selected to the conference's community service team. Neesmith is now a three-time All-SEC selection. All right, there you go with a few news notes of the day. And if you want to join us on the program, comments or questions, 800-956-7266. Our email talkback at sportstalksc.com. In fact, checking out some of our email that we've got in at talkback at sportstalksc.com. Mary asks, is USC in pursuit of any 2016 junior college linebackers or defensive backs? And yeah, they're scouting the junior college ranks for a number of different types of players. So some defensive linemen, some secondary people as well. Maybe not so much linebackers that we've run across, but we have seen some defensive ends and defensive backs. And what's the status of the following players? Shaq Rowland, Josiah Coatney, Tyron Jones, Michael McDaniel. Looks like Rowland and talk that was taking place has ended, and nothing's going to happen there. Coatney is going somewhere else, not USC. USC is no longer pursuing Jones, and McDaniel is still out there, and they have checked on him, according to his coach. And that's just been the craziest, weirdest situation I think I've ever run across because of whatever academic questions he's waiting to have answered. And, at one point he was really, really strong on South Carolina, and they liked him. Then there seemed to be some cooling, and then there was Georgia. So I don't know where he's going to end up at this particular time. But South Carolina is still checking on him. Thanks for the email, Mary. And we'll continue to hit up email and check Twitter. Email address, talkback at sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter at sportstalksc. We'll be right back. More sports talk from Greenwood and Columbia in a moment. Okay, we're back. South Carolina Radio Network here on a Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us wherever you happen to be, driving home around the state, out for a walk. Maybe you are on the links listening to us. Probably not a smart thing to do. Maybe you are, I don't know, playing some tennis. You can play tennis and listen to us. That's an easy thing to do, much easier than playing golf and trying to listen to a sports talk show. Wherever you are, we thank you for being with us. Remember, when you get home, take us with you into the home. Don't leave us in that hot car. Listen to us on your smartphone, your laptop, any of your devices in your house, or your radio. That's a novel idea. Stay with us over the radio as well. Then, when you get in your car tomorrow morning, you'll be tuned in to our affiliates in the morning. Listen to them throughout the day and pick us back up tomorrow night. 800-956-7266 is the number. Will Muschamp coming up in a moment. Last night, I mentioned the ranking of the top coaches in the country by CBSSports.com. They went from 65 down to 26, and today they did their top 25. So I thought I would touch on this very quickly. Some of the familiar ones to us in particular. Bobby Petrino is 25. Rich Rod is at 24. Bielema's 22. Freeze is 21. Rich is 18. Cutcliffe is 15. Malzahn is 13. Brian Kelly is 12. This again by CBSSports.com. Dabo Swinney at number 8. Les Miles at 7. Jimbo at 6. D'Antonio at 5. Stoops is 4. Patterson is 3. Meyer is 2. And Saban is number 1.
Of course.
Now, if you're Dabo Swinney, you're like, I beat number 2. Excuse me. I beat number 4 twice. Excuse me. I would have beaten number 5 if number 5 hadn't got crushed by number 1. Excuse me. I beat number 6. Pardon me. I beat number 7. I mean, Dabo beat everybody ranked ahead of him on that list that he's played except number 1. Anyway, it's an opinion thing. It's pretty good for Dabo, considering many years ago, people didn't think he could coach his way out of a wet paper bag.
Not that many years ago.
Now he's ranked in the top 10 in the country.
Well, he was 22 in this list last year, so he made a jump of 14 places. I thought Cutcliffe was picked much too low. What he's done at Duke is nothing short of remarkable, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a great coach. He's a great coach. You give him a quarterback and some receivers, he can do some marvelous things. We mentioned, of course, last night, Will Muschamp was 44. Now, one of the things that he hopes to do this year, he'll spring into the top 25 next year, because if he gets the Gamecocks to a bowl game, that's one of the great coaching jobs of the season, if he can get that done, and especially if he wins a bowl game, and if he notches a few significant wins along the way this coming season. He was on the SEC conference call today. K-Mac was on there with him to listen to some of the key things he had to say.
Yeah, Corn, and we broke this up in a couple of parts. In the first part here, he's talking about just overall impressions post-spring. He's had some time to digest and process everything, and he continues to be very upbeat, optimistic, and positive about his team, and he is not underselling those expectations.
Thought we improved throughout spring from practice 1 to 15. We made a lot of strides on both sides of the ball. We still have a long way to go, but summer's really important for our players as far as really the structure and the organization and the buy-in of our players with the new staff, coaches and schemes and terminology has been outstanding. I've been really pleased with their buy-in and attitude and work ethic, and they've embraced everything that we've asked them to do. So it's been really an awesome situation for us walking into, and credit Coach Spurrier and his staff for the type character kids that are on our campus right now. That's a credit to those guys. So I'll open it up for any questions.
You said at least one of your spring speaking tours that you felt like you had the players to win the East this year if other variables fell into place. given what you took over and probably the general tack of coaches to downplay expectations, what was your thought process there other than just telling the truth?
Well, Josh, I mean, I led that off statement by saying the amount of unknowns we had on our roster, and starting number one at the most critical position on your team is quarterback. Still an unknown of who the starter will be. We started 3 players last year. They're on a 3-9 team. Unknowns at the running position, but again, David Williams and A.J. Turner are 2 guys that I think are talented. They've never been a feature back in the Southeastern Conference. Deebo Samuel's got 12 receptions in his career. I think returning at that position, we've got a total of about 6 starts at the receiver position. I do think Brian Edwards is a young player from Conway that's going to be a very good football player for us. A lot of unknowns at tight end, but Casey Crosby and Hayden Hurst are 2 guys I'm really excited about. I think they've got 3 total starts between them. We do have some talent and ability at those positions. I think if we continue to develop and improve, that we certainly can put ourselves in that position. I am pleased with our offensive line. I do feel like we've got 8 or 9 guys right now that we can win with in our league, and I feel good about the combination of talent and experience up front defensively. And we've got a bunch of unknowns in the secondary. So we've got a bunch of unknowns. Everybody has them at this point in time, and we've got to have those things answered through the summer and into fall camp. And scale because we were paper thin in a lot of areas in positions on our football team. But I do feel like we've got some ability, and we've got some guys, if we can stay healthy, if these guys can continue to develop to get to that point.
Is part of it maybe a message to your team that you don't want them writing this off maybe as a rebuilding year, that you have certain expectations?
No, I would. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't say it. So again, there's a lot of ifs involved in that. But I do believe it, and I've talked to our players. When the individual meetings, I talk to individually to our players about it. I've talked to them collectively as a football team about it. That again, there's a lot of ifs out there, and we need to go find a way to get it done. Let's just.
All right, Will Muschamp, a little bit of him. More coming from Muschamp in just a couple of minutes from the SEC conference call today. And we'll also let you hear a little bit from Kirby Smarts at Georgia. Of course, South Carolina and Georgia will meet again this year, as they do every year. But with Smart at Georgia, a little bit of a different feel after you had all those years going up against Mark Richt. And just like Georgia, a little different feel for them as all these years going up against Steve Spurrier. Now they'll be facing Will Muschamp. So the thing I like about Muschamp is that he is a straight shooter in talking with the media, and I'm assuming he's the same way on his Spurs Up stops and then talking with their fans. He's not mincing words. I think he's really just giving an honest impression. He recognizes that there are inexperienced parts of this team, but inexperience doesn't necessarily mean not good players and not players who you can win with. So with a little bit of game action, then all of a sudden they go from being inexperienced to having more than their feet wet. I mean, actually getting dirty and doing some good things in SEC games. They're going to do that right away in the season on the road at Vanderbilt, and I think that's a great place to send this team. If you're not going to be at home, Vandy is a great place to go to start, to get your feet wet and start to get that experience. Again, I think with above-average quarterback play, that's going to make all the difference in the world and give them that chance. I don't have any doubt, besides the fact they have nowhere to go but up on defense, I have no doubt they'll be improved on defense because I think they're going to be a coach with a better scheme that fits these players and have better all-around players and more depth in most defensive positions except the secondary. And with King coming in immediately helping the secondary from the junior college ranks, that's going to be a boost. And maybe somebody else will step in this recruiting class and immediately help in the secondary.
Well, I think what will help more than anything is any player who makes a boneheaded play on defense does not want to come to the sideline because they're going to get that stare when they come off and probably a bulldog face them when they come to the sideline.
They got to be playing with a chip on their shoulder because
Really?
Will Muschamp is not holding back.
So you're saying the defensive players will fear Muschamp the way quarterbacks used to fear Spurrier. when they would mess up and have to come over to the sideline.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We'll have more from the Boomer in a moment. It's Sports Talk here on a Wednesday night, presented by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork, powered by soy. We've got college baseball tonight. USC's at home to Upstate. The Gamecocks 34-9. Upstate is 18-23. The Gamecocks are going to go with Brandon
Murray.
Thank you, Brandon Murray. I was going to say Brandon Marshall.
Bill Murray's nephew.
Brandon Murray to the mound tonight. As Chad Holbrook told us last night, a little bit of a switch up there. They like the way he's pitched in recent outings, so he's going to get his chance tonight. Clemson tonight at home against Furman. Clemson 28-15, Furman 20-24. And tonight we've got for the Tigers against Ted Andrews from Furman. So we'll keep you up to date on those two games and others around the state. A little bit more from the SEC conference call with Will Muschamp, and of course, K-Mac, the one of the hot topics, maybe the hot topic of the spring, outside of what's happening on the field, is the satellite camp stuff, which is, to me, just ridiculous.
I know. Who cares? It's the most overblown issue. It's the new thing now, and it's the reality. And Will Muschamp is going to get in on the game.
Well, just whatever the rules are is what we're going to do. So we're able to get out and see some guys and get off of our campus at times. But again, I think the most important thing is get them on our campus and showing them what we're about and our beautiful campus we have here in Columbia, and get them on our campus. But as far as we will get out. We've got a good plan in place. Whether or not the rule is to be off campus or on campus, either way, we're good.
Any specific locations you're looking at or anything like that? Or?
Just, obviously, the state of Georgia, state of North Carolina, state of Florida are the places we need to pinpoint. We've got a good plan for moving through those areas.
Will, listening to some other coaches talk about this satellite camp issue, it seems like there are a whole lot more factors that go into this than there maybe appear on the surface. And I wonder, from a coach's perspective, is this a headache having to do these?
Well, I don't look at it that way. It's just, whatever the rules are, we're going to here in South Carolina. So they've allowed us to go off campus, and that's what we plan on trying to do, to do what's best for the University of South Carolina. At the end of the day, all our decisions are made with what can help better our organization, and that's what we're going to do. And I embrace it and being able to get off campus and probably see more prospects maybe. And it is frustrating for me now. Some of the prospects will be coming to our campus, and I think that's something I value, for them to be on our campus and in our facility. But it is what it is. That's the rules. The game has changed a little bit, and we'll adjust to it.
And Will, as a follow-up, when you first arrived and you evaluated the relationship between the football program and high school coaches in South Carolina, I mean, what did you see was most needed to maybe strengthen those bonds?
Well, I think as much as anything, our staff is a new staff. Bobby Bentley really being the only coach on our staff that was well known in the state, and obviously Ironclad Wren and Ellis Johnson have helped me tremendously. But our staff needs to get out and roll our sleeves up and go to work in the state. And we've got 9 coaches recruiting the state of South Carolina, and I think it's important for all of our coaches to have relationships in the state of South Carolina. We've got a lot of very good football players, and there's a lot of good high school coaches in our state that do a really good job. Now, we may not have the volume of players as some other places, but we've got good players in this state, and I think it all starts in your backyard.
All right, Will Muschamp, there is no doubt that one of the smartest moves he made was to direct their recruiting efforts early on in the state of South Carolina. They are going to, if things hold to form, they're going to take a lot more players out of this state than Clemson will. Now, Clemson is eyeing bigger fish, what it believes are bigger fish in other parts of the country, more heavily recruited players that they like. And in some cases, they're passing on some good players in South Carolina that South Carolina likes. Now, I don't know, does South Carolina like them because they believe they are excellent players who can win in the SEC, or is it a default mechanism because they're not yet in a position to grab some of the big names from outside the state? Whatever the case may be, it never hurts to recruit well in your own backyard, in your own state, and especially when you're a new staff trying to build relationships. And K-Mac, that's what he and the staff have done from the get-go. It's going to pay off for them with some quality commitments from some good in-state players.
Well, they're offering a ton of them, as you know, better than anybody. They're really blanketing the state. And I think that for whatever reason, that was one of the things that kind of got away among the many things with Spurrier and his staff. They, just didn't cultivate those relationships in the state. And there were a lot of high school coaches that felt a little snubbed by them. Like South Carolina was turning their noses up at some of the in-state schools and players.
Yeah. And now really it's Clemson doing that to a number of quality players in state because they think they've got a shot at maybe, in their opinion, better players outside the state. Recruiting coming up. All right, let's jump into recruiting knowledge here on a Wednesday night. Athlete Tansy Richardson from South Aiken, USC, has reached out and showed some interest in him, been in contact with him here of late. They've not yet offered him, but their interest is increasing, being recruited by Brian McClendon and Travaris Robinson from USC, and he's been waiting to hear from USC, so it's exciting for him to have that contact. He's expecting USC by his school soon. He has recently picked up an offer from Mississippi State. He's a former Southern Miss commitment. He also has offers from Colorado State, Coastal Carolina, and Charleston Southern. Defensive lineman Tyrone Truesdale, 6'3", 325 from Augusta, was at USC on Saturday and really liked the cookout format and getting to meet the coaches and becoming more comfortable with them. USC's been recruiting him pretty hard. He said he talks to them pretty much every day. He's also looking hard at Florida, Auburn, Louisville, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma among the schools. He's also visited Auburn and Georgia. He said the schools standing out right now are USC, Florida, and Auburn. All are recruiting him hard. Lake Marion defensive back Tack Robinson has a new head coach in Leonard Johnson, and coaches from several of his interested schools have also been in to see him this spring. Clemson, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, East Carolina have been through thus far. For Clemson, Marion Hobby and Mike Reed were in last week. He said just checking up on him. He said the schools talks to regularly are Clemson, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Tennessee, no favorites at this point. Over the past few months, he has visited Clemson, USC, Alabama, and Virginia Tech. He does not have any future visits planned or camp plans at this particular time. He says he hasn't talked to USC in a little while, but he still has the Gamecocks on his list. Clemson offered 2018 quarterback Phil Jurkovich, 6'5", 190 of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. He's a heavily recruited 2018 prospect. Last season, he passed for 2,560 yards, 20 touchdowns. He rushed for 1,250 yards and 11 touchdowns. USC offered defensive back Caleb Oliver of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and defensive back T.J. Carter of Nashville. Receiver Justin Marshall of Conyers, Georgia, plans to release a new top 10 on Friday night. USC is one of his offers. Wren quarterback Jay Urich offered USC offered 2018 athlete Kevon Pope of Dinwiddie, Virginia, defensive end Isaiah Thomas of Tulsa, and 2018 quarterback Emory Jones of Franklin, Georgia. Clemson offered him yesterday. Clemson offered 2019 defensive lineman Travis Hopper of Memphis, 2018 defensive back DeAnthony Cook of Houston. Former USC commitment receiver Stephen Guidry of Hines Junior College, Mississippi, was offered by LSU. Gamecock Central Keanu Pender of Hutchinson Junior College, Kansas, and Australia will take an official to USC this weekend. He's been to NC State, and USC has reaffirmed an offer to 6'6" Zion Williamson of Spartanburg Day. Top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talk@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornbluth in Greenwood, here along the shores of beautiful Lake Greenwood. This is a great setting. We're here at the links at Stony Point, the Self-Regional Women's Health Classic, part of the tour for aspiring LPGA golfers, gets underway in the morning. And this is a very popular stop on the tour. A lot of folks come out and watch this. If you're a golf fan, and you're in South Carolina, you want to watch some professional golf, and women's golf nearly at its best. It's a step or two down from the LPGA Tour, but folks from this tour make their way up to the LPGA Tour, and it begins tomorrow, and they would love to have you out. Thanks again to Carl Block That Punt. Carl Punt. Get that, Carl Block That Punt. Our buddy from our affiliate in Greenville, WGVL, for inviting us out to play and setting us up, and we're having a great time. Before you get back to what you're sighing about, K-Mac, I had a couple of more recruiting notes.
Oh, God.
USC has offered 2016 defensive Jones of City College of San Francisco, a JUCO All-American, California Defensive Player of the Year last season, 53 tackles, 16 and a half sacks, 26 tackles for loss, forced 4 fumbles, recovered 2. He's out of Federal Way, Washington. He was a non-qualifier. So he went to the JUCO to get qualified. He played as a true freshman in 13, redshirted in 14, finishes up his degree this month. He'll have 2 years to play 2, starting in the fall. So the Gamecocks have found a guy who's out there who might be able to come in and help the pass rush right away. Basketball, going back to what I said as we were hitting the break, Gamecock Central's reporting 6'8" Keanu Pender of Hutchinson, JC, Kansas, an Australian native, will visit USC this weekend. He's a guy that we have been following for some time, and we mentioned a while back that Frank Martin was interested in him. However, with the 6 numbers the way they are, I kind of thought, and after what Martin said the other night, I kind of thought the Gamecocks might be finished, but apparently not. If they're bringing this guy in, if they sign him at 7, that means they're 2 over the limit. I don't know what that means about adjusting the roster. And Jamie Shaw of Phenon Hoops reports that 6-foot Adrian Butler from Wade Hampton High School has committed to Newberry. Then I also mentioned that Zion Williamson of Spartanburg Day, according to the Spartanburg Herald Journal, he recently got back in touch with him to reaffirm that they have offered him as well. All right, K-Mac, continue with your exhale.
Oh, you're done with recruiting now, so it's a sigh of relief.
At least for now.
Sigh now. It's a happy
At
sigh.
least for now.
Now, where's the rule
there
that
could
you
be
have, 20 scholarships for men's basketball? I forgot when I saw that.
Yeah, listen, Frank says you got to keep recruiting. You got to keep recruiting. But you better have a plan. Who knows? Maybe some of the guys aren't coming back. Who knows at this point? We'll be back in just a moment. And we're back. Sports Talk presented by the National Wild Turkey Federation. You can help make the world a better place through conservation of North America's greatest game bird and the preservation of our hunting heritage by joining the NWTF. Find out how at nwtf.org/rise and fly. All right, Clemson has taken a quick 2-0 lead on Furman, playing that game up at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Tigers trying to build on their successful weekend of taking that series against Florida State. What a huge series victory that was for them. South Carolina and Upstate, they are scoreless going to the second inning in Columbia. K-Mac, if you have your fingers on it, you have the scoring for they got the 2 runs.
Chase Pender drove them in.
Okay, it was not beer. You can't do anything with beer. A beer pun.
Well,
huh?
I can do plenty with beer. I mean, I can go out to the office here in our kitchen here in the studio and put down a beer. That's what we should do. Every time Seth Beer gets a hit, I should drink a beer. It can be the Seth Beer drinking game.
But
That'd
see,
be really
worry.
fun. Now I would have to get a driver to probably get me home after some shows. Maybe I can Uber can do that segment or checkered yellow cab, and I can just sit in here and just drink a beer every time Seth Beer gets a base hit.
But see, I'm worried about that because, as we all know, you graciously donated a kidney. So, I mean, you don't have the bodily functions to properly filter that alcohol.
I
And
disagree. I'm drinking. That one kidney has to drink for 2 now, so I actually have to double my beer intake so that one kidney doesn't feel like it's alone.
Exactly.
So I actually drink twice as much now with one kidney. And
I can tell. I
it's
can
working
tell with some of
beautifully.
your tweets. Some of your tweets that I see late at night indicate that you have been practicing that.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, I'm drunk right now, Phil. I mean, that doesn't stop.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So South Carolina and Upstate scoreless, and Clemson off to a 2-0 lead. Riley Gillum on the mound tonight for the Tigers. Both teams, both USC, Clemson, facing big series this weekend. The Gamecocks going to Kentucky and the Tigers at home to NC State. I want to wrap up today's SEC conference call. It was with the Eastern Division coaches. Tomorrow, they'll do the Western Division coaches. But let's wrap up what we've got from the East and focus on those Georgia Bulldogs, a team South Carolina will face later in the year. Too bad they don't play them early with all those suspended players, as Steve Spurrier likes to remind everybody. But they'll play whoever they put on the field in Columbia when they visit. I think it's in October. So Kirby Smart, much like Will Muschamp, first appearance not for Muschamp. He's been on these calls before as a head coach. For Kirby, however, K-Mac, his first as a head coach.
His first as a head coach, his first spring. And Kirby also, kind of like Muschamp, feeling pretty optimistic about things.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We had a lot of energy from our staff and a lot of buy-in from our players during our dog time off-season program. We're currently finishing up finals right now, but we had 3 or 4 weeks that we tried to build some strength in the program and get stronger and get a little bit bigger. And then we had our spring practice. And I think that everybody got to see the passion from our fan base for the turnout for the spring game. And it's really important to me, being a University of Georgia alumni, for our fan base to be united and be pulling in the same direction. And same thing for our players, to be united and pulling in the same direction. So we've challenged them to finish up finals well and come back with a really good attitude to start working in the summer.
What did you tell the 3 quarterbacks that you want to see from them in regard to their summer preparations, and how much will that, play into your final decision come fall?
Well, I think it's hard to evaluate them in the summer towards fall because we're obviously not out there when those guys are getting to throw. So that's a tough part. But I challenge each one of them in my exit interview to be a leader, be organized, to structure things. And it's not about who's doing it. It's not about who gets the credit for doing it. It's not about who's calling the wide receivers. It's really not about that. It's not about an ego thing. It's about getting all of us better. Those other guys need just as much work as those 3 do. So they've got to challenge their teammates to be there every day, to come for whenever they want to throw. They want to do extra sessions. They need to coordinate that where all of them are together. It's not an independent contract where Grayson's doing this, Bryce doing this, Jake's doing it. We're all doing it together. And that's important to organize it that way and they structure it that way. But we challenge each one of them to get better, and each one of them's got some areas I think they can improve in different spots. But I am happy and excited to see that they're hungry to do that, and they're all three looking forward to getting back, towards the end of May and starting up with the team.
Okay, Kirby Smart. They face a real interesting situation at quarterback, guys. They've got the young, hot shot, highly recruited, much talked about, unproven quarterback who had a really good spring, but they do have a guy back who has started some games and has done some good things for them. Grayson Lambert last year, he completed 63%, 2,000 yards, only 2 interceptions, 12 touchdowns. So he's not all that bad, and they do have some weapons. Isaiah McKenzie's back. Michelle is back. The big tight end is back. So they're not without players at Georgia. They always have players at Georgia. I think they've got to rebuild their offensive line quite a bit. But let's face it, this is going to be a big question mark for them going into the season with a new head coach and just a new everything there with Kirby Smart now running things.
Well, I think the big key, though, Corn, a lot of times because we de-emphasize the running back with all these quick throws, the heart and soul for Georgia from a standpoint of confidence is how well Nick Chubb can come back from his injury. If he's the Chubb, anything like we've seen, Georgia will be dangerous. If he's a little bit gamey and banged up, Georgia's confidence may take a hit.
Well, they open up against North Carolina in Atlanta, and that will be a test. I think North Carolina, of course, with their great run last season after losing to South Carolina, they have an excellent quarterback returning, and their offense, I think, will be dynamic once again. That should be a heck of a game. Then they get Missouri and Ole Miss. In fact, they open up. They've kind of got a difficult early league schedule, guys. 3 of their first 4 SEC games are on the road, much like USC plays their first 3. They've got Missouri, Ole Miss on the road. They get Tennessee at home. Then they come to Columbia, K-Mac. So, the Dogs are going to be tested here pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri, that's not too bad. Ole Miss, though, some people in some of these way too early 2017 mock drafts, they have Deshaun Watson and Chad Kelly, the first 2 quarterbacks, off the board.
Yeah.
How about that
if you're Clemson? I mean, you're like, hey, can we recruit quarterbacks or what?
Mm-hmm.
When our first 2 guys that we recruited are going to be frontline contenders and also strong position to be the first quarterbacks to come off the board in 2017. That reminds me of our poll question at sportstalksc.com. We've had a ton of response so far to the question, will Deshaun Watson, when will he be picked in the 2017 draft? And 34% of these are knuckleheads. 34% say between rounds 4 and 7.
Yeah,
give me a break.
That ain't happening.
Yeah. Almost 34% say the first round. That's more logical. Almost 20% say he'll be the number 1 pick. Now, I think he's got an excellent chance to be the number 1 pick, assuming a team picking number 1 needs a quarterback, and it's probably going to be Cleveland again.
Every year. That's where – here's the thing. I mean, there's some people on Twitter saying, hey, you never know. Taj Boyd was a high prospect. He could go in the mid-round, system quarterback, weak ACC defenses, and that's just silly. I guess these are the same people on the opposite fan base that used to say that Jadeveon Clowney's not very good and he's gassed and doesn't work hard and is lazy. Now, we can argue what kind of quarterback Deshaun Watson will be on the next level, but you cannot argue that he is a top 5 NFL prospect if he stays healthy next season.
From an intangible standpoint alone, you would take him as a quarterback. I don't care what offense he played in.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's going to be those scouts out there who nitpick and find little things wrong with him, but I think by and large the GMs are going to like him. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk presented by the National Wild Turkey Federation. Not the kind of wild turkey you're thinking of, K-Mac. You can help make the world a better conservation of North America's greatest game bird and the preservation of our hunting heritage by joining the NWTF. Find out how at nwtf.org/rise-and-fly. We are here in Greenwood for the Self Regional Women's Health Classic. We're the Lynx at Stony Point, and we're joined by Mr. Jim Medford, who owns this beautiful place and is the tournament host and chairman. And first of all, thank you for having us out here. We've had a blast today.
Great. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a spectacular day weather-wise. So that's half the battle. So
tremendous. And you know what? From talking to the pro who I played with and hearing from some of the others, the ladies here, the young ladies participating in this event, they love it out here. They love this course, and they love the way they're treated when they come here.
Well, I think that's what always sets an event apart, is the community and the embracing of the athletes when they come. And I'm so proud of everybody in the Greenwood, Lakelands area, because this is a big deal for us. And they show it. They show the appreciation. And there's 144 of these really talented professional young golfers coming around, and we actually put over 100 of them in private homes. So tonight we're having a pig picking to give them a taste of South Carolina, and it's for the host families and the players, to show a thank you for what they do. But the players, we are the largest purse on the Symetra Tour. We raised the bar significantly. We did that since our first year. This is our third year. We doubled the purse from what their average was in year one, and we've just raised it again. So whoever wins this tournament gets their card stamped, if you will, to be on the main stage LPGA Tour.
Sure.
So it's a game changer. So they come in focused to play. So it starts with the purse. We do try to put a quality product together for the golf course. We work really hard on that. We've invested significantly to try to achieve that. But that means nothing if there isn't a great, warm crowd and welcoming community, and that's what we have.
And I hear, especially on Sunday, the galleries are large and the partying is heavy, especially out there on the lake, number 13.
Yeah.
A little par 3 that goes down by the lake, and you can get your boat in there and just have a big old time.
We try to have a signature thing that really stands out. And the Waste Management Tournament out in Phoenix has really created a very unique atmosphere to golf. And in our own little way, that's kind of what we have done on hole 13. It's a beautiful par 3 right on the lake. We've built stadium seating kind of around that. We have, music pumped down there. We have live radio broadcast going on. We have 500 plus boats anchored off the tee box.
Let me jump in real quick.
Sure.
If you can relax for a couple more minutes, and we'll let you go in just a second as we're talking with Jim Medford here at Stony Point. Back in a moment. And we're back at Sports Talk tonight from Greenwood. We're at the Links at Stony Point. We're visiting with Jim Medford, the club owner, the host and chairman of the tournament, getting underway tomorrow morning, teeing off about, what, 7:25, 7:30 or so?
Yeah.
Very good. Weather's supposed to be very nice this weekend.
Yeah, that is. We're so fortunate. This is our third year of a 10-year, minimum 10-year contract to host this, and we've been very fortunate for 3 years now. And this is going to be the best yet because it's going to be in the mid-70s, sunny.
Yeah,
so,
and warming up through the weekend.
Yeah, warming up into almost 90, I guess, by Sunday.
All right, I want to go back to 13 for a minute. I've had the pleasure of covering the Heritage many years, and we know 17, 18 at Harbortown.
Right.
You talk about Waste Management in Phoenix and what they're doing, and you've sort of got a miniature thing here, but it's growing. You had about 3,000 people out there at number 13 last year to kind of party and celebrate the good shots and maybe let the golfers know when the shots weren't so good?
Well, I think what's happened, and we have a player here with us, so she can speak to that too. The good news here is they reward great shots, but they don't really go negative, if it's not as good of a shot. But and they're very respectful because we have over 500 boats anchored off that hole, and they're quiet when because the weekend tee box is literally next to the buoy line where the boats sit, and it's a difficult shot because you're hitting across the cove, and then we have stadium seating behind the green. So when we talk about 3,000 plus people at that one hole, 3/4 of them were sitting on boats literally right next to the tee box, and the rest are in the stands, hitting. And we have the music playing down there. We announce the players when they come to the tee. When they're 2 holes out, they can kind of hear the buzz and the noise. So I think there's a little bit of adrenaline building. And it's a lot of fun. We've had the caddy races. We have tiki bars down there. We have barbecuing Carolina Pride.
Yeah,
I got to get that in there. One of our sponsors.
Sure.
Carolina Pride meets down there. The radio station broadcasting live from a dock inside the cove. I mean, so it's pretty cool.
Sounds like it. Now, in terms of economic impact and the beneficiaries, charity-wise, from this event, what's that like?
Well, that's why we took on this challenge, and we then committed to a much longer time frame, is because this really is so great for our community on so many different levels. So from a charitable standpoint, that's what I love about professional golf, because they leave a thumbprint wherever they go. But we've been able to raise this after our third year, $750,000 to go back to women's and children's health and need support groups, nonprofits. So our title sponsor, the hospital, they get a portion back for women's health. Our local community college gets money for women's scholarships. We have several children's homes, Bowers Rogers Children's Home, Connie Maxwell, Beyond Abuse for women and children that find themselves in a difficult situation. So it's been great. I mean, that's been a game changer for a community our size to be able to support that. From an economic development standpoint, we're approaching $3 million impact for this 1 week.
Wow.
So every hotel room in Greenwood, not only the chains, but the independent ones, because the caddies all stay. And so every hotel room is pretty much booked. The restaurants do extremely well. We host about 100 of the players in private homes. So the grocery stores report that this is their biggest week outside of Thanksgiving week because, they're out shopping. The community aspect, we had the largest youth golf clinic here yesterday. We have over 200 8th graders from the school districts around here going through that, getting to interface with the players, which is great role models. We have a young culinary school for one of the schools here, a career center. All those kids were here working with our culinary staff to learn how to put on an event. So no matter how you slice and dice it, it's really it takes the old adage, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
Well, it takes a whole community to put on this golf course and this golf tournament, I should say. And I wish it would put on this golf course, take a lot of pressure off of me, but the tournament itself. And so it's so great to be a part of this.
And I want to tell golfers around the state and remind them that this is a public course, and it is worth coming up to play. It's built, much of it built around Lake Greenwood. It's beautiful. Course is in fabulous shape. It was until I went out. Not such good shape after.
Well, we have our
I
crews
dug it
out
up.
there with
Yeah.
divot repairs and
could
some
bury-
extra a truckload of dirt to fill in some of those that I understand you.
We buried a couple of small dogs out there
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
divots.
yeah.
So
I hear you
I hope
sculled an 8-iron on 13, but got it on the green. That's amazing.
first swing of the day. A lot of pressure too. A lot of pressure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Great
me.
luck this weekend, and congratulations on what you guys are doing with this.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, Jim Medford, club owner, tournament host, and the chairman here in Greenwood. Self-regional Women's Health Classic, part of the Symetra Tour. 144 golfers, 4 days, 1 course is how they billboard this thing. And the winner gets her card, will get her card into the LPGA by virtue of the money won here and everything else. And now I'm happy to have with us Miss Caroline Powers, who was the pro side of our pro-am team. We definitely were the am side, and she definitely was the pro side. Now, I want you, see, here's the thing. You don't know me, and you don't really know what we do. But people call me South Carolina's premier media golfer. Isn't that right, K-Mac?
If by people you mean you calling
Yeah.
yourself that, yeah, that's definitely true.
So,
I love a good self-proclaimed title.
yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I have to carry that title around the state. Now, you watched me for 18 holes a day. I just want your honest observation. What do you think? Is there hope?
There's always a sliver of hope for everybody.
I love the pregnant pause there before she answered that question.
What part of my
choose my
game
answer
most
carefully.
impressed you? What part of my game most impressed you? How I drove the cart?
You didn't throw me out,
No.
except for almost once.
We almost turned over once, yes.
But luckily,
Yeah.
the backseat driver, me,
Yeah.
held us together.
Yeah.
We picked up a lot of golf balls.
Yes, we did.
Placed a few ball marks.
Mm-hmm.
But no, honestly, like the third hole of the day, when we had about 200 yards into the par 4, he just laced a hybrid in there to about 10 feet.
Actually, it's my 3-wood.
3-wood.
Mm.
We didn't make the putt, but
That sounds better when
it
it's a hybrid.
was a great shot that I will not soon forget.
There you go. Well, now Caroline is from Ohio, but she is a Michigan Stater. She's a Spartan, and you played golf for the Spartans, and now you won what? You won some national. What did your team win when you were at Michigan State?
We won 2 Big Ten championships while I was there.
Great. How'd y'all do in the NCAA tournament?
The highest we finished as a team, I want to say a 6th.
That's good.
So,
That's
yeah,
good.
it was
That's
exciting.
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
going to nationals, it's pretty competitive, and it's just getting better as the years go on.
Mm-hmm.
So, any year that you get back there is a good year. And then when you can put together a few rounds with your teammates, that's always good.
And now you're here on the professional tour, on the Symetra Tour, trying to make your way up to the LPGA Tour. And I got to tell you, I admire you, you girls. I mean, you're out there working all day. I mean, I know we had fun in the Pro-Am, but I mean, you after lunch, you go off and you hit golf balls and work with all aspects of your game. I mean, what time typically do you guys start working on a regular day when you're not playing in a tournament?
On a regular day, honestly, a lot of it probably depends on whether, most girls, go to the gym now. So typically, you probably go to the gym in the morning and then get to the course, and could spend anywhere from, 6 to 8 hours at the course, and then, go home and put your feet up and do it again the next day.
I know.
So it is fun, it's the best job in the world, but it's definitely work. You can't just be. Everybody at home probably thinks that, we have our feet up at the pool every afternoon, but that's not the case.
No, watching you guys today, I know better than that. All right, hang on, Caroline. We'll come back and talk a little more with Caroline Powers here at the Symetra Tour stop in Greenwood. Back in a moment. All right, Clemson has taken a 4-0 lead on Furman. They're in the top of the fifth. Tigers scored 2 runs in the fourth. USC's taken a 1-0 lead on Upstate, and they are in the bottom of the third. By the way, Upstate has a player, a second baseman. His name is D. Ortiz. Well, I don't know what the D is. One of us, David Ortiz, playing second base for Upstate. And I just bring that up because of the David Ortiz.
Yeah, I'm sure it's him.
And my man, my gal Caroline here is a Red Sox fan. She doesn't, I didn't tell her I'm a huge Yankee fan, but you guys own us right now after the other night. Back to Caroline in just a moment. Want to remind you that we're presented by the National Wild Turkey Federation. You can help make the world a better place through conservation of North America's greatest game bird and the preservation of our hunting heritage by joining the NWTF. Find out how at nwtf.org/rise-and-fly. That's NWTF. Left out a letter. NWTF.org/rise-and-fly. All right, we're visiting with Caroline Powers, one of the golfers who'll be teeing off tomorrow. You go off at what time?
12:20 off number 10.
12:20. You're ready to go.
Everybody should come and bring their friends.
Tell me about 13. Tell me about 13 on the weekend, or 13 at any time in the tournament. As we were talking to Jim about it, what's it like to have all those people right there staring at you?
I think it's awesome. We don't usually get too many spectators, so that's a cool thing about coming here to Greenwood in general, is that a lot of people come out to watch us, and then for there to be that excitement around the one hole, I think it's more enjoyable for the spectators to get to, cheer a little bit louder than, the normal golf clap. And so I think the girls get excited for it, and, you get a little hyped up for it because, you want to hit it really close. You want to give the people something to cheer for, and I just think it's neat to have something special like that that's out of the ordinary.
Yeah, you saw my approach on 13 today, kind of a low-cut 8-iron into the green.
Yep, it just scooted right by the water and a couple bounces. And
does it matter how it gets there?
It doesn't matter how we got there. We had an uphill 20-footer. It was just beautiful.
Yeah. How do you like this course?
The course is in great shape right now. So I'm excited. Everything is just in mint condition, so it'll be a good test for the week, and it'll be a good championship.
I was reading here on the website about the experts making their picks, and so this one writer, Beth Ann Nichols, you know her, she is predicting Sherman.
Good luck. I just learned how to say her last name today.
I'm going to try and say it. You can say it. Sherman. I've never seen a name this long before. Sherman Santa Wiwawathananapong.
Sure.
Huh?
No.
Santa Wiwathana. How would you say it?
Oh, I got to remember. I think it was
Sherman.
Santi Wiwa. That's and then the Tanoganwa.
Athanafong. SANTIWIWATTHANAPHONG. Where's she from? She from Greer? She ain't from around here.
Where is she from?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I call her P. Sherman, like from Finding Nemo, but I don't even think she's seen Finding Nemo.
Thailand. She's from Thailand.
So she doesn't really get why I call her that.
Yeah. Sherman-S. Anyway, it's tough out there, isn't it?
It's tough. I think, do you mean in general or
just the tour? The tour trying to get to the LPGA?
It is. And even this is my third year this year, and the competition has gotten so much deeper even in just the last 3 years. And so it's awesome for women's golf, and it's good for the direction that the whole tour is going and the LPGA is going. But, every year it gets that much tougher to make it. But, we're all out here together and, cheering each other on. And, I mean, they're friends. We want to beat them, but we're all in this together. So it's great. Yeah. I wouldn't change it for anything.
How close do you think you are to breaking through?
You asked me this earlier. I told you it's a complicated answer, but I think, I feel really close. It's just things just need to click. But most of the girls out here, they could say the same thing. So it's just a matter of, keeping that belief in yourself, even when you, miss the cut or don't hit it as well as you want to. But, any week could change. And especially this being the biggest purse of the whole summer, you know, this 1 week can change the fate of any girl out here. So it's a fresh week and we're all starting in the same spot. So who knows?
And you're confident?
I wouldn't mind having Mr. Medford hand me that trophy and the check this weekend.
That would be wonderful, with it. And you're confident?
I do. I feel good. You know, things haven't really been happening lately, but I feel like, you know, they're going to connect here soon. So this would be the best time to do it.
And let's help you out with the branding. We want people to follow you on Twitter, Caroline Powers. It's CARO_Powers.
You betcha.
Everybody, she's picked up at least 4 more followers.
I have 4 whole more followers.
Since we got here. So we want our Sports Talk listeners around the state, jump on CARO_Powers.
You can count on some good jokes.
There you go. And other things. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks again to Jim Medford and Caroline Powers for joining us here up in the upper echelons of the clubhouse here at the Links at Stony Point. And again, I encourage you to come out if you want to watch some of the young female golf talent in the country right here on display. And a lot of folks in this area get behind this event, especially the situation over there on the 13th green. Seems like a lot of fun if you want to get out and enjoy yourself there. We encourage it highly. Let's update the baseball real quick, and it is Upstate and USC now tied at 1. Upstate scoring a run in the 4th. Clemson with a 4-1 lead on Furman. Furman just scoring a run in the 5th. Schnell has come on to pitch for the Tigers, and Furman is still threatening with runners on the corners. Quickly to the phones we go, and it's Cockett in Columbia. Hello, Cockett. How are you tonight?
I tell you, man, I'm going to go off on a bang on your show. Let me say this to all the people in the state of South Carolina. By me being a conservative for 35 years, Phil, I'm just telling them, please do not vote for Hillary. I'm just saying, right, this country is in a turmoil. This president is totally put this economy in an atrocity. And I'm the conservative nation saying to all the people of America, Do not vote Democratic. If you do, we're going to have another Obama.
Speedy, you know this is a sports talk show, right? Did you think you called the Glenn Beck program? Or this isn't the EIB network here, Speedy. I mean, I'm going to safely project Trump will win South Carolina. So do you have a sports question for us?
Yeah, I got a sports question here. My Boston Celtics is going to be a championship contender.
Oh, God. Now let's go back to politics. What were you saying about Hillary?
Cockett, and thank you very much for whatever it is you were talking about. The Celtics, I'll go to that. The Celtics, things go well. We could have the number 1 pick in the draft. I hope we don't screw this up. And it will be either Brandon Ingram or Ben Simmons, and whoever we don't take, if the Lakers have the number 2 pick, they'll take the other guy. So, K-Mac, both of our teams stand to do very well, according to mock drafts. Both of our teams stand to do very well here.
The Lakers better get the number 1 pick because we all know that draft is rigged. And the Lakers, after everything that's happened to them, David Stern preventing Chris Paul from going there, the Lakers deserve the number 1 pick. The NBA needs to do the right thing and make sure they get that number 1 pick because it is rigged. And an NBA when the Lakers are this bad is not as good of an NBA when the Lakers are in the playoffs. And that's just the reality of it.
Get it again.
Well, they did get it. Yeah, they got it twice because of the whole LeBron thing. You got to make it right with the Lakers now. It's our time.
One of you got to take the gamble and get the center from Sacramento.
K-Mac, we'll see you the next time the Braves win in 10 days.
Yes, in a couple months.
Thank you, Pro. Thank you. Thank you, Carson. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.